What's up, everyone? It's John here with National Sports Entertainment. And now that we've had time to process all the games, I just wanted to go into them. I wanted to go into the Cowboys game, the Eagles game. It kind of came full circle, actually, because in my my video where I originally picked the Eagles, and I said we would use them as a third leg if necessary. It was also explaining why the system is so important. So you can see right now we're at 420, which is nice because I think we could use some 420 after some of the shenanigans today. But let's look at, essentially, we'll go through the games because I figured instead of doing recaps after every game, I could just save them and do them all at once. That way I can get you the picks out quicker, and then we can just do a recap. So we're going to go into the early games, and then I'm going to hit this game right here, 17-26, 1726, 126 was the day Kobe died, and this was their 126th matchup. So right off the bat, I found that interesting. Kobe is a big, he calls Philly his home away from home, and the total score is 43, if you know about Kobe and the 4s and 3s. But this isn't a rabbit hole video. I want to go into our picks. So obviously this one is one I would normally have just chosen the Falcons, because I would have said there's no way the Niners should only be 4.5-point favorites. But I didn't. I just kind of went with, okay, there's traps every week. I don't think this is going to be one of them. I thought it looked like public money was on. And by the way, I'm never using Vegas Insider again, because they duped me. I don't know who, and all these other resource public money sites, don't look at them. The information is so wrong. If their information was correct, then the last 3-4 days they paid the public a buttload of money. So I'm not saying they're all bad, but most of them are like ran by the AP press and stuff, and I found that out the hard way because I never would have picked the Falcons. That was a trap game if I've ever seen one. But I'm not making excuses. I picked the wrong game. I'm just saying going forward we won't be using that metric. The Jets, I really just thought was a trap. I really thought, just like New England, I thought in Chicago when he blew Chicago out, but then New England kept it close. I thought Rodgers was going to come back and blow him out. Between the haircut and, like I said, between the haircut and his play, I'm convinced he slept on his wife, or maybe he looked at Tom Brady the wrong way and they are giving him a penance, because this is pretty embarrassing. He's laughing and smiling because he's getting paid, but it reminds me of wrestlers that get relegated to the cruiserweight division. They're still not happy. So we weren't able to get that. We were able to get our overs. Again, this is a great metric. Colts were 0-5 on the over. Bengals were 0-5 on the over. So they're just, in my opinion, two ones that are going to hit. Now the Saints missed, so you can see we started off really rough with 1 o'clock, and the Ravens missed. So we started off 2-4. Not a great start, obviously. Though we did get, we got the Commanders Thursday, but outside of that, the Saints didn't come through, the Ravens didn't come through, and the Packers didn't, nor the Niners. So again, it was looking pretty bleak, but that is why we have the system. We don't have to win every game. So as you can see, we lost Baltimore. We're actually going to be playing, I thought it'd be fitting, because we're 4-0 with bets on Denver or against Denver. So I seem to have a good read on Russell. So that's going to be our double up on that sequence. We hit the Indy over. This was the Eagles, obviously, so we can finish that one out. That's going to be a win. And this is why it's important to stick with the system. I know a lot of people, when you get to the third leg, it's easy to get scared, and I understand. That's why I know some people that are they're betting smaller amounts. They're betting like $2.50, whatever. That way they can still do the system without having to worry about not having the bankroll to cover it. So we were able to get this one on the third leg, and as you'll see, most won't even come to it, but we're typically going to take them. This was the live bet I told you guys about. I was actually able to get 2 in. It was, again, one was a money line, and I did not see them losing this game. I said from the beginning, I think they're going to the World Series. still might not, but they're doing a Game 5 in New York. It's just not. They're not going to not do that. The Dodgers, I guess, but the New York Yankees have a much more energetic fan base, and I think they're going to win, to be quite honest. So that one was the second of our New Orleans sequence, and that one was a win. And of course, that's just going to be a net of 25. And now I want to go into the games. I always like to clean this up so you guys can follow along with me. Now the Rams, this is why I saved them for a third leg. As much as I like the Packers, I like the metrics. The 0-2 Rams at home, who I believe are making the playoffs, giving up 10 points the way they've been playing, even if it is against the Panthers. Most people, I would bet, I don't care what Vegas Insider says, I would bet most public money was on Carolina plus 10. Sure, people were taking the money line for the Rams, but the spread is where you're going to have a lot of money put on Carolina plus 10 there. So, and even on the money line for an upset. So that's why I really liked the Rams, and that's why I like this system. We can save our, not that we ever want to put a bad pick out, but one's really good metrics we can save. Again, the narrative here with the Eagles, maybe this will convince, I doubt Tracy's ever going to come back and watch another video, but essentially Tracy is somebody who doesn't think the game is rigged, and I think that they're just blinded by their fandom for the Cowboys, and I didn't want to have to show Tracy firsthand, but this is how it works. There's no narrative. I tried explaining this. This is why the Cowboys weren't going to win. After this, the Eagles have 2 primetime games, which means they're going to be playing 2 teams at night, and it's the Texans and the Commanders, 2 very capable, spoiled teams. Meanwhile, the Cowboys are playing the Lions and then the Bears. So it doesn't make sense to have Rush win this game, and there's no Cinderella story to continue. It was the same as Kansas. I explained it was the exact same as Kansas when they were like, oh, are they going to beat TCU? No, they weren't, because after that, they didn't have anybody promising in the schedule to continue their Cinderella story. So this is what I mean when I say it's scripted. It's 100% scripted, and that's the reason I really had the Eagles winning this game, simply because, and it's funny, if you look at the score, 1-7-2-6, you got 1-2-6 again at Kobe. I know it sounds, like it might be a reach, but Dallas is 4-2 now. You flip that 24, and then obviously the Eagles 6-0. I mean, who's that, James? Maybe I'm reaching, but my point is, I promise you, Kobe and the 1-2-6 have a big bearing on these games, on these numbers. You'll see the 4, the 1, the 3s just riddled through these games. Just looking, we have a 34-yard field goal, a 14-yard run. You'll see a lot of these numbers are the same. You'll see a lot of these numbers are repetitive. This score adds up to 43, and it's just, you can call it a coincidence. I just don't think it is. So I don't use gematria much, but I do like when I see repeating symbolism. Now, the Rams game, again, the reason I like the Rams is I think moving forward, they're starting to build them as well as the Bengals, as a team that's getting their bearings. I think this is going to set up a great upset against the 49ers coming up, and I wanted to go into that game, but obviously it's not for a bit. So we're going to go into, obviously, tomorrow's game. But, yeah, the biggest thing I can stress is we did not have a great day. We missed San Francisco, we missed Kansas City, 0-2, 0-3 with the Saints, 0-4 with the Packers, 1-4 with the Rams. The Yankees is 2-4, 3-4 with the Phillies, and a 3-5. That's outstanding. So, and we lost all of our opening games. We got a couple overs, but I mean, outside of that, it was not a pretty start. It wasn't even a pretty 4 o'clock schedule. We hit the Rams, but the Eagles came through, and that's what we have to understand. The odds of all these teams not hitting is just minute, and even if they don't, for every 7.5 sequences we win, we are afforded a 3-leg loss. For 4-leg losses, it's 15 sequences, which is why I very seldomly do the 4-leggers. But I wanted to show that because, again, so we're sitting at 420, and we had, I think it was around 3 something. I said we'd be over 4 by the end of tonight. And with a good Monday and a decent, there's usually a Wednesday college game. Between Monday and Thursday, as I thought, we'll be close to our triple up. So, everyone that, there's the people in the Discord, and I invite you all to join, because what happens is people kind of see everything going on at once. We're able to hedge together. And almost everyone in the Discord is making money. Just like, oh man, I'm glad. Somebody told me that Romo had said in the second quarter, this game's going to end 24-20. So this is why I love the comments and the dialogue and all that, because if I wasn't told that, I wouldn't have been able to hedge, for $70 on the Kansas City game. So again, thank you, Neil. Thank you so much, Neil, because Neil Williams is the one who pointed it out. And that's what this is about. We're helping each other. Vegas is hard enough to beat. So we're looking good. Like I said, it's easy to, like earlier today or yesterday. That's why I don't even watch these games half the time. This was the first time I watched, honestly, like every game, like from the beginning through to the night games, all season. And maybe that's why this stuff just jumped out at me, like the Baltimore ending, or the way Rodgers played, or even Philly at the end was just so weird, going for that 2-point conversion, making that possible. I think they just do that to keep the live betting open. But it's just very bizarre. But yeah, I know a lot of people, it's hard for them to sit around and especially if a bunch aren't going our way. But as you see, and it's not an accident now, we are way over 50 sequences in, and we have yet to hit any kind of patch where we were at even close to being in the red, to be quite honest. The lowest we dropped, I think, once we started from 185, we got up to 3. I think we dropped like 220. That was like the lowest we ever were. That's with outstanding bets. So, I mean, I'm just saying this to the new people, or the people that just might have tried similar systems, but maybe they didn't use all of the metrics. I love this system. I'm always going to stick to it, even when others are saying, nah, I can't do it anymore. The third leg is always the toughest. Look at sequence number 1. We literally are sequence number 1. We lost the first 2 and we won in the third leg. So it's not like we just always have hot streaks. We notice them a lot more, of course. Like, we're going to notice when we win 6 in a row, just like we're going to notice when we lose 6 in a row. But what happens is, with this system, we really only need to win about 40%. And I talk about the system in almost every video, but I just don't think I can belabor the point enough, because to me, again, it's about results. That's why every one of these is in live time. Every one of these is, you see every single bet that's being made and what the double up is. That way you can literally just follow me step by step, and wherever I end up, you will end up, just by copying me. And I'm not telling you to copy me. I do know a few people that said they lost a decent bit because they went with different legs. They doubled up on other games. A couple people with Dallas, which is fine. You guys were right when I had the Rams and you had Dallas. So, there's never a guarantee. But I'll tell it to the people that are really stressed and they just don't feel like dealing with it. Just watch back our playlist. And honestly, if you just want to follow every pick I make, this is really, more of this to come. This system has been in place for 6 years that I know of. Again, ironically, I got it from a dude who used baseball odds, and he really knew baseball metrics. I happen to know football metrics a lot better. But yeah, looking at this was a very odd week. The one thing that I do like about this is, since we were able to cover every sequence except we have the one open sequence, which we're going to be doing for the Monday night game. But now we have Atlanta, who I'm immediately fading, at 6-0 against the spread. So that's just a great metric right off the bat for next week. It's anytime you get a 100%. Just look at our record today. We went 2 for 3. It's not bad. And just look at our metric when we're just picking teams that are winless or undefeated against the spread or the over or under. It's way above 60%. It's really good. So that's why I really liked the Falcons today. What I didn't like about it was the fact that it seemed like a trap. But I really like them next week. I think people are going to see Cincinnati say that they just beat the Saints. And I don't want to get too much into ahead of ourselves. It's just I'm trying to show you the metrics that I use. Maybe that way you can use the similar metrics. You don't have to pick the same teams as me. But if you find a college team that's 18% against the spread, but they're a pretty good team, there's a very good chance that team's going to cover that week. That's just, I'll go to it again. It doesn't happen. Never happened. So on the over-under, as you can see, we had Detroit. That's where. Where are they at? They finally hit it. It was Indianapolis and Cincy, 1-5. Neither of them had covered an over. We picked them both and they hit it. So it's just something that you're never going to see a team not hit it. 5-11, 12-8, 13-3, 3-12. Now, mind you, we still have teams with only one, so we have so many good picks ahead of us. 4-12, 12-4, and the same goes for against the spread. So this year we have Atlanta as the only team left, and then we start looking down here, and look at Denver. Do they go to 1-5 against the spread? Well, while we're on them, we're going to look at them because, again, instead of doing a bunch of small videos, I think it would be better. I think you guys would prefer it if I just went into everything. So even though a little of it might be redundant, I want to go into tomorrow's game because we'll go into it a little better detail tomorrow. But since I got my data working, I just want to get what I can out, and I think I can get a good assessment on this game. I like Denver at a glance. First of all, I would normally say I like Herbert because it seems like the old quarterbacks are putting over the new guys, and that's what I've been saying before. However, I also think they're trying to spin Denver as competitive. This would tie them both up in the division. Keenan Allen's doubtful, and normally I don't care about the injuries, but they push this dude like without him, they might as well just run fullback dives every play because they play pretty bad without him. I'm not saying they can't win, but it's a big indicator. And I just think after that Colts game and just after how they play in general, I think people are at a point now. I think people are at where I'm at with Rodgers. So maybe I should stop. Maybe I should rethink Rodgers. I'm at the point where I'm just either not playing Rodgers or fading him. I think people are at that point with Russell. And this will be the week he has a really good week. Now, it's been thrown out there, and I love the possibility of Russell Wilson going for 300, his 300th. I'm sorry, his it's not his 300th. Going for his, I think it might be. It's his. He's 4 touchdowns away from. I think that's what it is. Tying John Elway for 13 all-time touchdowns. And I think it's the number 300. I could be wrong. But, so he's 4 touchdowns away from it, which is very interesting. So the question then becomes, when does he pass it? Does he do it quietly? Well, we look at the teams. Jets doesn't make sense to me, nor does the Jaguars. Titans doesn't. So to me, the Raiders, or a ridiculously good performance, a quiet performance, against the Chargers would do it. And I think that's what we might see. I think we might finally see Russell Wilson look good because everyone's going to be fading him because he's creeping up on Elway and because this is a game, I'm just guessing, people are going to like the Chargers even with the -4.5. Just because, again, we see how bad Russell Wilson has looked. I don't think he's that bad. And now they're talking about him having a shoulder injury. So I'm leaning there. Like I said, I'm leaning there strong. But I'll definitely know for sure. I'll lock that in tomorrow. I just want to go over all the metrics again. And I'm trying to make sure I didn't miss anything. I hate it when I miss like one little thing, because then I feel like I want to put I'm OCD, so then I'll feel obligated to put out a video for that one little thing. I think I covered everything. I think they're keeping Lamar quiet. Oh yeah, that's one thing I noticed. So, and I mean, this is something that's kind of naive of me. I guess I should have noticed this one sooner. But obviously, there's only one game of the week. The Fox game of the week. And in different regions, people will get some different games in the 1 o'clocks. But for the most part, we're seeing the same game. And most of us aren't seeing Jets Packers. Most of us aren't seeing Jaguars Colts. Most of us aren't seeing 49ers Falcons. What is the commonality with what most of us aren't seeing Bucs Steelers? What is the commonality with all of those games? They were all games that nobody got to see, and then just weird things that shouldn't have happened. I heard the Colts was just terrible. NFL rigged, and we didn't even have money on this one. We actually hit the over, but NFL rigged was going all over Twitter apparently because of calls in this game. So people are waking up. But yeah, these games are all games that not a lot of people are going to be watching. So you're not going to have millions and millions and millions of people tuned in watching the Niners play the Falcons. So they're just going to chalk it up to the Falcons playing good at home. Maybe Jimmy wasn't on. And that's it. That's how easy they explain that one away. It's harder to do that with the Eagles and Cowboys. It's really hard to explain away Hurts playing bad, Rush playing good, the Eagles' defense suddenly sucking. And those things couldn't have happened, and they kind of happened towards the end of the game to keep it close, but they weren't going to happen because they are positioning the Eagles in a very similar way they're positioning the Bills and Chiefs, which was another dandy, wasn't it? So what do we have? We had the first half with almost no points, and then in about 30 seconds, look at the hurdle. Yeah, Josh Allen. This reminds me of Shawn Michaels had the sweet chin music. The Rock had the rock bottom. Josh Allen's got the human hurdle. Derrick Henry has the Titanic stiff arm. These guys all just have their own little, Mahomes has the sidearm sling blade, whatever you want to call it. They all have their little moves, their signatures, and I just find it, it was very generous of Reed to duck under him and let him make that jump. I thought that was nice of him. It was really sportsmanlike, but that was pretty dandy to watch, as was him driving down the field in about 5 seconds at the beginning of the game. It was with the beginning, but it was going into the half, and he can't even move the ball, but then all of a sudden 3 perfect passes and then a touchdown to Gabe Davis. And then the same thing at the end of the game. I think once we saw him get tripped, we knew what was going to happen there. That's where, again, I put some of my hedging in. And I was already told about the Romo prediction, so I already had half a hedge in. But once I saw that tripping not go his way, I knew something was going to happen. And sure enough, he does the human hurdle, and he scores just enough time. Basically a repeat of the playoffs last year, just reversed. So same script, they just changed the winner. And this is Manning and Brady all over again. So I love this because for the next several years, we are going to know exactly where Buffalo and Kansas City is positioned. Those are most of the games. I did not watch Bucs Steelers. Like I said, since the Tom Brady meltdown narrative, kicking people, divorced, breaking tablets, whatever else he did, I just feel like that's one to stay away from. And then the Ravens-Giants, I honestly, to me, this is further proof that Baltimore is going to go far, because I think this is one of those games that people look at and they're going to have Baltimore as a middle-of-the-pack team. And they're just missing, honestly, Lamar playing normal, and they would be an amazing team. He easily could run for first downs on a lot of these plays, but he won't. And I've noticed that. So, again, the games where he runs for like 120 yards, they're typically games where he's playing like the Jets or the Commanders, and they're 1 o'clock games. And this was a 1 o'clock game, but I would say this was the 1 o'clock game. And he was getting watched. So, of course, you're not going to see him doing crazy things like Madden. But we were able to see him run and do pretty good. They looked like a good team, just not completely together. And they're probably a receiver or two away from, at least from a narrative perspective, being a Super Bowl team. But I'm doubling down. I still like them in the Niners. I think they can do enough with both of those teams. And outside of that, I think that's most of the teams we had. We went into the Rams, Bills, Chiefs. Yeah, we went into the Eagles. For Tracy, we'll go into it one more time, just for fun. Again, this is one that I like going forward just because it's a 7. When you have a 4-1 team and a 5-0 team, and they're playing both lights out ball, and one's getting 7 points. Not always, but usually it's a trap. And I'm trying to show, like, most people already understand that this is all scripted, but this is what I mean by it's a trap. They had moved the lines all the way up to Dallas getting 8.5. So there's people that lost this by a half a point because they were certain. There's people that bought up because they were certain that the Cowboys were going to cover. There's no way that they would lose by more than a touchdown. And that's because of the narratives. And that's why we have to forget about who's the better team. I made that mistake with the 49ers earlier, and I paid for it. I thought, well, they're so much better. They can't explain away the Falcons winning and going 6-0 on the spread. But they did. So, I might look into some baseball games for tomorrow. Obviously, like, baseball hasn't done great for us, but I'm not a believer in fallacies. So I'm not one to say, this didn't work before, so I'm just going to not try it. I am a believer in numbers, and I do think the Yankees win this game. I think they go up, I think they advance, and they go ahead and they play the Astros, and they get redemption because the Astros cheated, and I think they're going to go from penance to penance. They won penance, and now they're going to pay penance by probably getting swept by the Yankees. So I was off on the Dodgers, but I still believe the Yankees get in, and we'll be playing the Yankees tomorrow because, again, even if they lose, then it's only the first leg of a sequence, so we're working with a lot. So I know this was kind of long-winded. I just wanted to cover every game. I wasn't really able to go into each game and what I believed. Like I said earlier, this is the last one I don't think I was able to touch on. I should have listened. Somebody commented to me that this was Burrow and Chase's reunion to Louisiana. I liked the Andy Dalton story. I really thought he was going to give them their third win, and he would have been 3-0 against the Bengals, and it seemed like a trap because they were basically even odds. But if you can see, Chase had a heck of a game, as did Burrow. So that and I'm sorry I'm blanking on your name. I'm really good with names too, so this is bothering me. But he's very kind and always positive. And I'll send you a comment right after this. But he told me, he said, I'm not basically. I think Chase and Burrow are going to do it, man. So you might want to reassess it. And I said I was going to. I stuck with my guns, and my guns are wrong. So, that's what another thing I love about you guys is you guys a lot of times have me rethink decisions, and for the better. So, a lot of you guys with me on Philly. That's why I felt strong from the beginning, and then I had a lot of you guys saying, "Yep, I can't believe my friends are jumping in on Dallas." And to anyone that took Dallas, this isn't like a knock. We've taken beatings. I just took one for 400 on the Mets. So I'm not knocking anyone that took Dallas. I'm just explaining why I think it's good that a lot of us understood immediately it was a trap. And our primetime record is a lot better than our regular record, I'm noticing. So I'm noticing the narratives and the metrics, at least for primetime, they're keeping them more, at least explainable, if that makes sense. But that's really all I got. I wanted to go into the narratives of these teams. Not much has changed. As I said you can watch my Super Bowl video. A lot of that's basically the same now. A lot of those teams are where I thought they'd be. I think it's going to continue that way. I do see Atlanta falling off, to be honest. I really think they're just a red herring. But I hope you guys have a good night. I know it's been a really up and down couple days, but again, for me, I always zoom out. It's like a stock or an NFT. Sometimes you have to zoom out. Remember, hey, we started at 185 at 421, and we got a nice Monday game tomorrow where we're 4-0 and picking Russell games. So thank you all again. The Discord's getting big, and we got a lot of people putting some pretty good public knowledge in there, which is helping us regarding the numbers and the stats and the history. And now I can post polls, which I love. I don't know why they wouldn't let me do that before. So now I can see what games you guys want me to cover the most. It's a lot easier. And I just like being able to do community posts if I'm not able to do a video. So take care, everybody. We finished good. And like I said, we're at 420. So if you feel like you need one, I'm certainly going to indulge and have myself a good night. And take care. Happy earnings. And I'll have an official video out on Russell Wilson tomorrow. But pretty sure we're taking him. Take care.